welcome back to Universally Bedford Live. It's a Thursday, it's 7 p.m. or 2 minutes past. Thank you for hanging on. How you doing? Let me know in the chat. Hope you're doing well. It's another hot one here in the UK. Of course, everyone's saying, why are they building a theme park in the UK? It always rains, it always rains, it always rains. Except it never rains. It never rains. Tell my garden that it always rains. It never rains. So, hope we're all doing all right. We got some great stuff lined up for you today. So, thank you for being here. If you're not subscribed, now's your chance and opportunity to do so. First thing we're going to do is we're going to have a look at what's going on the site. We were down there today, and in fact, I was flying the drone. I could kind of see it. It was all the way over there. And I kind of had a little bit of a moment. I freaked out a little bit because then all of a sudden I saw my drone, a drone, about 20 feet above my head. And I thought, oh, what's going on here? But of course, it was the one and only Project Universal, who is in the chat. So obviously, if you got some questions in there for him, I'm sure he'll do his best to oblige. So we've got some fantastic drone footage of the site today. There's some stuff going on. There's a lot going on the site right now. Nothing to the scale of the 5,000 workers that will be there at the peak of construction, but considering the doldrums that have been the site over the past few months, quite a hive of activity. What more? Well, we do have our favourite. We've got Rope Drop Showdown for you guys, which is where you get to choose. You decide. Head-to-head, 2 Universal attractions picked at random by my supercomputer, and you get to choose which one is victorious. Which one are you going to rope drop? And then sprinkled through the hour, we do have Thuzy Thesaurus, which is an opportunity for you to test yourself on your theme park enthusiast lingo. Let's see how you do. We do also have something else for you. Now, Project Universal has had a bit of a sneak preview of this, but I wanted to let you guys in on this as well. Now, obviously, you're here at Universally Bedford Live, so why wouldn't I share this with you? Now, we've got a fantastic, very exciting bit of content coming up. I'm really excited about sharing that with you and kind of getting it out there. It's a work in progress, but I have a little teaser for it, and I will be sharing that with you later on. I'm just going to say hello to everyone here. Amanda, hello, Amanda. Hello, Cranky Collector. Hello, Ben. Hello, Project Universal. Hello, Frog 1812. Simon, you're here as well. We got quite the the group. So hello, welcome. Introduce yourselves in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. It'll be absolutely fantastic. Before we kick off with our little site tour, Ben's got in there quick with a question. What do we think the percentage chance of getting Nintendo in the at the park? Right? It's obviously at Universal Studios in Hollywood. It's at Universal Studios in Orlando, Epic Universe. It's obviously in Osaka in Japan as well. I think there's a chance. I think it will depend how the Nintendo lands age over the next few years and how they develop. But I wouldn't rule it out. It may not be there from day one, but possibly a little bit of an expansion. Hello, Ollie, as well. Right, I think it's time that we had a little bit of a look around the site. So it's time for our site spotlight. Right. Whoa, what's going on here? We've got a little bit. Wait. Wait, there we go. Do you know what? I'm gonna give you that one again. Here we go. Let's try. Is it gonna work? No, it's not. Oh, there we are. It's our globe. It's our site spotlight globe. Sorry about that. I had a little bit of a malfunction there because I lined things up a little bit erratically, and we actually got a sneak peek of some of that drone footage. So let's actually just jump to it, shall we? So here we are. We are in the we're at the Stuartby end of the site, and this is the core zone. So I'm just going to pan over here. This is where we're seeing a collection of containers, like kind of mobile offices, that kind of thing. But also this is where the vans, you can see a couple of drill rigs there in the middle. They've been parked up. Hi Paul is watching from North Yorkshire. So we've got a lot here. This is kind of the base for these site investigation teams. And this is where they've been kind of camping out from. Every time that we've seen vans coming in or out of the core zone, it's been from this site access point there. All right, now let's scoot across, still on the core zone. So where we are right now, likely to be car park / moving now towards the City Walk hotel area. And then we're progressing more now towards where the gates will be, going down the kind of main street, the boulevard. All right, now if you can see in the middle, we have a little bit of activity here. I'm going to get a little bit closer. Now I was very aware of work actually going on the site, so I didn't want to get too close. I didn't want to disrupt their work and ultimately kind of, irritate or annoy. But what you can see is a van and an excavator. We will get a little bit close to that a little bit later on. But there you go. We can see there the excavator is seemingly digging something like a trial pit, right? Now, I did wonder what a trial pit was. But apparently it is what it says on the tin. It's digging a big hole and seeing what happens, seeing how stable the land is, seeing how quickly it fills with water, seeing where the groundwater level is, that kind of thing as well. All right, now we're scooting a little bit further over towards Manor Road. So this is kind of heading out now towards the back of the core zone. Now I believe this to be not far from where my good friend Project Universal was camped out on this particular day. But obviously there on the other side you've got the lake zone. It's going to have that construction village where you can see that kind of concrete slab right there, and then extending outwards, that's all kind of extension land there, extension which we'll see developed in the future, 2031 and beyond. All right, and let's pan over now towards the part of the site that we're kind of most interested in right now, which is the West Gateway Zone. So you can see the A421 over there, just running this side of those warehouses. And that tree line there marks where the Universal land is. Now, if we look just center left of the picture there, you can see a van. Right. Oh, you saw yourself. Project Universal saw himself. This is. I can't even rewind on this because I'd love to rewind and just kind of and find you there. Mitch says there better be a bar in the resort called the Concrete Slab. Do you know what? I love it. I'd love it. The Concrete Slab is now legendary. I will be petitioning, and I'm sure a lot of you guys will too, for a drinking establishment called the Concrete Slab. Right. Project Universal did confirm that I flew right over him, which means I need to review that footage. Okay, right. So we're now back in the drone. We're back facing the core zone. We're going to scoot back over in that direction in a moment. But it's a nice shot, this, just so that we can really take in the scale of the site. And I think sometimes you need to actually see it with your own eyes to believe it. I don't know how many of you guys actually are close to the site. How many of you have actually seen the site? How many of you have walked the public footpaths that crisscross the site at the moment? The public footpaths, which in a few short months may no longer exist. Let me know, because it really is eye-opening when you see it. Look, if my big head wasn't in the way, we'd actually be able to see Project Universal and meet the man behind the brand. Okay, right, we're going to scoot back now to that excavator that's working right in the middle of the core zone. Hey, Mitch, yeah, maybe a ride where we're sitting on Project Universal's drone. You know what? These drone flights are becoming so consistently a part of our construction vernacular that I think we got a good shout for that. So actually we can see there, just in the distance, the excavator working away. Amanda's actually been to the site. Her husband and her have walked over the land. It's a great feeling, isn't it? Just like you're walking over it's just some normal British countryside, and yet it's the future site of a world-class theme park and resort. Fantastic stuff. Right, now we're going to just scoot backwards now towards where I was parked up. So I think that kind of gives us a bit of our site update for the day. I hope that was as enjoyable for you as it was for me. Certainly was. Right, okay. Any questions? Chuck them in the chat. Let us know what you think. Are you excited about this? Are you not? I was speaking earlier today, and thanks to Project Universal for diverting them to me. But I was chatting today with a gentleman from the BBC, and they are going to be running a show over the next week, which is going to be focused largely on people's concerns about the infrastructure, the planned infrastructure, the traffic, that sort of thing. And I was talking to him today because he said, well, what do you think? How are you going to feel if it takes an hour to pick up a pint of milk at the end of the day? I said, well, to be honest, if it took me an hour to pick up a pint of milk, I would be a little bit upset. But is that actually going to happen? You let me know in the comments what you think. Are the traffic concerns real, or are they an exaggeration? My thoughts are this. I travelled 3 weeks ago from Hemel Hempstead to my house near Bedford. It took me 2.5 hours because the M1 closed. So it took me 2.5 hours to travel about 30 to 35 miles. It was painful and I was very irate at the end of it. That happens. It happens. It's really irritating, but it does happen. My question is, are the roads in this country good now? Are the trains in this country good now? Are the flight connections and the affordability of air travel good in this country right now? If your answer to those is all yes, then, great. But I think most of us would agree that actually the roads in this country are a bit rubbish, right? Most of the time. And train travel is ludicrously expensive and they never run on time. And for flights, sometimes it can be quite slim pickings about where you fly from, the times of those flights, how easy it is to get on them. So things are not great right now. So does Universal come into this country and, as part of that project, upgrading all of the roads in the local area, upgrading two trains, two rail lines, both northwest and east, north, south, east and west, also in line with the Luton Airport expansion and improvements. All of these things are brought on by the Universal project. Yes, Universal will add traffic. It will add to travelers on the rail. It will do all of those things. It will make more travelers fly from Luton Airport. But without this, would we get that level of investment in our local infrastructure? That's the question. Let me know what you think. You tell me if I'm right. You tell me if I'm wrong. Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. Cranky Collector. I wonder if when the works start, they will stop drones flying overhead. Now, we know from the planning application that that's what they want to do. They want to have effectively a no-fly zone over the site, which to an extent makes sense. They will be constructing things up to 115 meters tall, and a drone can fly 120 meters above the ground. So I do understand, right? I do understand that they do, it's got to be safe and all of those sorts of things. Whether they'll be successful in doing so, not sure. If they are successful in doing so, which would be unprecedented, then what are we going to do? I've got a few ideas, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. We will be bringing you all the updates, regardless. Don't worry about that. Mitch, he wants to send them the money for his annual pass right now, if he could. Ollie, I think roads are rubbish, loads of potholes. Air travel could improve, but I think it's all right. Yeah, it's all right at the moment. It's all right. Jason, evening. Always welcome, mate. You don't have to apologise for being late. It's a joy to have you here. Mitch, air travel is amazing from the UK, especially compared to Canada, where he used to live. Very good. Okay, Mark, you make a very good point about the structure of the roads, the trains, airports in the UK. Yeah, Universal probably do that, and there's no issue. But there's lots of people that have their doubts. Yes, yes. Project Universal also chipping on the drone conversation. Don't think it will happen. No other private business in the UK has one. That's true. They seem to be, they're reserved for airports, MOD facilities, nuclear power stations, that sort of thing. Not typically construction sites or theme parks. And of course, there are regulations anyway when you're flying a drone about how and where you can do it. You have to be compliant, you have to be safe. David J. Lloyd, the country roads to Alton Towers after all these years is a crime. I agree with you. And this is actually something that I mentioned in my conversation earlier. If Alton Towers is currently our flagship theme park in this country, and all of the traffic that goes there, because there's no train station. I don't know if there are buses, but they'd have to use the roads too. But all of the traffic has to go through the village of Alton all day, every day. Every day that park opens, the traffic's going through a village. Every time. Every time. Now, Alton Towers, because it's grown organically over the years, that's the way it's been, and they've not had to do anything. Universal was saying, look, we're not going to just plop this thing down here and expect everyone else to work it all out. We're going to submit thousands of pages of documentation about how we're going to do it, or we're going to support the Highways Agency in doing it, or we're going to support Network Rail or National Rail in doing it. All of these things. It's such a considered proposal that they've put together. And I understand people's concerns, and I don't disregard them. But I do think, on the balance of it, and compared to other tourist destinations in this country, there is a lot in there. There is a lot in there that they've done just to mitigate the effect that the park and the resort could have on the local area. The Cranky Collector, regarding the neighbours' complaints about their villages being full of traffic, I can't see it being a problem. It's not like they're building on an existing site, for example, Alton Towers, and all the traffic driving through Alton. Oh, yeah, you're right. I did just say what you were typing. Unbelievable. Great minds. That's exactly it. And as for the local villages, all the local villages have actually been consulted, and they are mentioned specifically in the plans. Their roads are listed in the plans, road by road, with what the potential impact's going to be during construction and operation. It's where it gets a little bit further out. So I know the residents of Amt Hill, which is probably about 3 miles from the site, just down the road, they aren't directly referenced in the documents, but and as a result, they're kind of thinking, hang on a sec, what about us? And Amt Hill's an interesting one as well, because in the last 20 years, a large tourist attraction has been built, maybe, I don't know, a mile from Amt Hill. And while just before that was built, people were kicking off. It was going to be awful. It was going to be awful. A Centre Parks, 1 mile from Amt Hill. And that's obviously loads of traffic in and out twice a week. Now, obviously, it's been open now for a good few years, and no one really worries about it because it brings in money, brings in jobs, and people are cool with it. I think there's an element to which this is just change and fear of. Okay, Cranky Collector. This on new land and Universal building new roads straight off the A421. So no need to route through villages. Completely agree. The only time that traffic's going to go through the villages is if the road network has a catastrophic failure. And if the road network has a catastrophic failure, Universal will be just one of the issues or the contributors to traffic on that day. It will be, there'll be a lot from pictures, people going to work, taking their kids to school, that kind of thing, right? Ordinary stuff. Jason, I noticed on the BBC they were saying about Amt Hill Council having concerns about the traffic. Yeah, Jason, you're right. They are. They are. They are having concerns about the traffic. I believe in the same statement they suggested that something that would make it all better would be if Universal could give everyone in the town free tickets. So, Cranky Collector, I can book a 2-week holiday to Orlando cheaper than a week at Centre Parks. Yeah. Once your kids start school and you can't go out of school holidays again, forget it. Anyway, do you know what? I think it's time for welcome to Doozy Thesaurus. Now, I don't know if you've played this before. Were you here last week? Were you here? Were you getting involved? If you weren't, these are the rules. This is a test for you, just to test yourself. It's not a competition, okay? I say it's not a competition. The first person in the chat who gives me the correct answer will get a little shout out, but that's it. So, we're going to go in our first round of Doozy Thesaurus. I give you a term. You, in the chat, put the description in, okay? Are you ready? This one's so easy, it hurts my brain, but apologies. Q line. Tell me what a Q line is. Chuck it in the description. Be the first. Be the first one to put it in there. While we're here, Frog 1812. Is it true that there is a chance that some homes might get demolished? We don't know. And just as a kind of a thing, I've made a decision. I'm not going to talk about those houses in any sort of detail. Some of them been purchased by Universal, some have not. The reality is that some people are still living in those houses, and whilst that remains the case, it's their home, and I'm not going to start speculating on what they're doing or anything like that. In my mind, it's a private matter. It should be dealt with by themselves and whoever else in private. It's commercial agreement, and that's it. Right, Amanda's got in there first. Amanda, it's the line or queue for a ride or an attraction. Of course it is. I told you, that was a nice and easy one. It's a little bit of a warmer-upper. It's an aperitif for something a little bit more juicy later on. As I did say, later, we got a few more of these Thusiothosaurus. That was really the easy one, right? That was really the easy one. We're going to get a little bit trickier, but before we do that, we're going to jump into something else. Yeah. And Frog, I appreciate that. I know what everyone knows, and even if I did know, if I knew something that could be confidential, I couldn't shout about it because it would be, yeah, immoral, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I just want to kind of like leave that to those people's private stuff. But Amanda Cow, she gets the prize for Thusiothosaurus round 1. Well done, Amanda. Right, I think we should have a little bit more fun. Let's play a little bit of Rope Drop Showdown. That one always puts a smile on my face. I love it. It's pretty extra, but yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of that little animation. Okay, all right, it's time for our first showdown. So just as a reminder, you've got 2 Universal attractions, one against the other. You are at crossroads or a T-junction, and the paths before you are 2, and one of them is one ride, one of them is the other, and you have to let me know in the chat which one you are going to go for. And we're going to put a little poll here in the chat as well, just to make it easy. Here's number 1. We have Kong Skull Island versus the Simpsons ride. Okay, are you ready? Okay, you let me know what you think. What's it going to be? Is it going to be Kong or is it going to be the Simpsons? You put your answer down there and get voting. All right, okay. Just while we're doing that, I did tease earlier that we're going to have a little bit of a nice surprise later, a little bit of a juicy tidbit, something that I've been working on in the background. It's going to be exciting. It's something that I honestly, man, I put together this teaser, and it is the most ridiculous thing. It's the most ridiculous thing that I think I've ever done, at least on a computer. Right, here we got some things here. All right, so Ben's going with Kong. Currently, Kong's doing all right. Kong's at 78%. That's pretty strong. Lots of people going for Kong. Kong all day long, says the Cranky Collector. They even pumped the smell of bananas on the ride. Banana breath. Yes. All right. David J. Lloyd. Speaking of queues, do you think Universal will have virtual queues? I don't think we'll on all attractions due to fast pass. You're probably right, mate. You're probably right. I wouldn't be surprised if there was maybe virtual queue to begin with and no fast pass, and then fast pass comes in later. We'll see. Ollie J's in there though with the Simpsons. I love that. Okay, guys. All right, we're shutting the poll. And we are finishing off with Kong 77% and the Simpsons are on 22. Fantastic. All right, it's time for number 2. We have Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure versus Dueling Dragons, the ride which was demolished for Hagrid. So it's a little bit like kind of, you know, which one are you going to go for? You're going to go with new or old? You're going to go with the new contender or the legend? What are you going to go for? What are you going to go for? You let me know, and obviously we're going to start the poll. So here we go. Round 2 is Hagrid's and Dueling Dragons. So just to be totally transparent with you, this is not Dragon Challenge. Dragon Challenge came in later when they turned off some of the dueling aspects. And the reason they turned that off is because when Dueling Dragons was first built in 99, I believe, nobody had smartphones. Everyone had a Nokia, right? And a Nokia, they were bricks, but they weighed as much as polystyrene. They weren't heavy. Now everyone has a smartphone, which is it's like a weapon if that thing flies out of your pocket. So what happened was they did that, and as they did that, the G-forces pulled people's phones out of their pockets and they just kind of started whacking people on the other train, which did not go down too well with the general public, understandably. So they turned off the dueling thing, and then by that point it was kind of like things days were numbered. Do you know what I mean? Ollie J, I've not been on either of those. Not yet been. Not yet been to Florida Universal. Ollie, you'll get there. You won't be able to rate Dueling Dragons, but you'll be able to test your metal on Hagrid. So far, we got Hagrid 75%. I want to see some more votes before I shut this one. Sorry, that was my dinner. Before I shut this one down. You got a few more seconds, so get in there. While you're voting, Ben McLean, oh, has anyone played Donkey Kong Bonanza? Praise God. I've heard unbelievable things about that game, Ben. Unbelievable things. All right, we're shutting the poll, and the poll ends with Hagrid's winning with 75% to 25%. Okay. The Cranky Collect says, oh, that was hard, but had to go with Hagrid's. I love riding both. I remember once, as I was about to ride Dueling Dragons, someone had been sick on the seat. So nice. In the Florida heat as well. Whoa. Luckily they cleaned it before I sat down. That is a good thing. And I hope they used a lot of, antibacterial. Lovely. All right, okay, number 3, here we go. Round 3, we have Men in Black, Alien Attack versus Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. We've got a dark ride showdown here. Now, what do you think? One of them, Men in Black, Alien Attack, it's a classic. It's a classic. Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey is a new classic. Lots of people, until recently, considered it one of the best dark rides in the world. It is screen heavy. But does that depose it from number 1? Are you going to stick with Men in Black, or are you going to flip to the Potter? Right, you tell me in the chat and have your vote now. Go, 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 go. It's open. All right. So, what is people's experiences with these rides? So, obviously, Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, legendary queue line, and a very innovative Kuka art ride system, which is effectively based on those robots that build cars, but they just strapped a few seats to it. Fascinating. Men in Black, Alien Attack, it's a very practical ride. It's one of the first interactive dark rides that Universal did, and it has a charm to it. Now you let me know what you think. At the moment we're at 50-50, which I love to see. Men in Black, oh right, come on, I want to see more votes. This is getting really juicy now. It's getting really juicy here in the votes. This poll is really surprising me. I thought this was going to be an absolute pop. No, Harry Potter's going to clean up, but Men in Black are snuck up on us. They've used your no, they haven't used the neuralizer on you. The neuralizer, of course, that thing that got flash and you forget it all. But everyone here is remembering Men in Black so vividly that they're like, no, that's my number 1. But Ollie J saying Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, it is that for him. Right, okay, we're going to close it down. Okay, the poll is ending. Okay, this one ends. Men in Black at 67%. Harry Potter with 33. That shocks me. But if I'm just take something here from the Cranky Collector, big Harry Potter fan, but I prefer Men in Black. It was the Gringotts ride. That would have won. Interesting. All right, well, let's see if that one comes up later on. Okay, it's time for round 4. We got Back to the Future the ride versus Jurassic Park River Adventure. Two Universal Studios legends head to head. Obviously, one of them still exists. The River Adventure and Back to the Future the ride. Rest in peace. But what are you going to choose? Which is your winner? Round 4. The poll is about to go live. We have Back to the Future and we have Jurassic Park. Okay, the poll is now open. It's open. So you now get to have your say. So do it. Now, just so you know, a little bit about Jurassic Park River Adventure. That first opened at Universal Studios in Hollywood. And the fascinating thing is the development and the planning for that ride began before the first Jurassic Park movie even came out at the cinema. So sure were they that it would be a success that they already started building the ride. And is it a good ride? Yeah? Is it as good as Back to the Future? Now, Back to the Future, of course, that's the one, it's the motion simulator dark ride. You get into a DeLorean and you go on an adventure. It sadly had been, well, sadly in my book, got scrapped for the Simpsons ride, which kept the same ride system but rewrapped it all as the Simpsons. And well, don't know. We'll see. Simpsons didn't do too well earlier, did it? Right, okay, lots of people getting involved. Adventure Worldwide, we will be coming back to your question in a minute. All right. And Mitch as well. Mitch, I love your suggestion there, bud. All right, Ben McLean, best one yet. Wow, Jurassic, but only slightly. Poll is now closing. Okay, and we have lots of people with Jurassic Park. Ollie, anything Jurassic Park gets my vote, but I'm a massive fan of the franchise. Paul, Back to the Future, love the film. Hope we get a ride like this in the UK. We might get a Back to the Future ride, but it might be a little bit different. Now, I've closed that one off. Back to the Future with 58%, eclipsing the 42% of Jurassic Park. That is interesting. There's obviously a lot of love for Back to the Future here tonight, and I get it. And I hope that love continues when you see what I've got coming up for you right at the end. And I can't wait to share that with you. Right, last one now. This is round 5. Make your vote count. Here we go. We have Spider-Man Islands of Adventure versus Velocicoaster. What are you going for? What are you going for? It's a tough one. These are two very different rides, and they're both actually at the same park. Forgive my spelling of Velocicoaster. I don't know if I spelled that right or wrong. Apologies. It's now your chance to vote. Get voting now. Hit the one that you love. Hit the one that you love, because otherwise, not like that. Not like that. You know, consensually. But no, do it in a way that you show your support for the one that you really want to win. Is it going to be Spider-Man? Is Spidey going to take the vote, or is it going to be Velocicoaster? Both at the same park. One at the beginning, one right near the entrance, one right near the back. What's it going to be? I'm going to give a few more seconds, so make sure that you make that vote count. Just while we're there, the love for Back to the Future is strong. Mitch, Back to the Future, Doug Trumbull is a hero. Cranky Collector, the Back to the Future pre-show was as great as the ride. No arguments from me. No arguments from me. Okay. And the poll is shut. And with that, we have our winner, and it is Velocicoaster with 88% of your votes, which is quite the endorsement. So, this week, our winners are Velocicoaster, Back to the Future, the ride, the classic, Men in Black, Alien Attack, Hagrid's, and Kong. Wow. Now that was quite the adventure, quite fun. Thank you so much for everyone getting involved with that. You voting makes that whole thing work. So, right, Adventure Worldwide asks a question. What events do you think will be at Universal Studios Great Britain? Well, there's some that we know for sure. Halloween Horror Nights coming to the UK. Trademark's been registered. It's nailed on. With late opening hours as well. Gonna be good. The other ones that we have a good, good idea about is Chinese New Year, New Year, Diwali, and Eid. And I think obviously there's going to be plenty of seasonal stuff around Christmas too. So we're going to have quite a bit going on. I think there'll be, there'll always be something happening, right? There'll always be something seasonal going on. But in terms of big events, it's going to be those ones. Those are the ones that you're going to be buying a special ticket for, because the park will be open late. There'll be fireworks. There'll be mazes in the case of Halloween Horror Nights. There'll be a lot of stuff going on. You're not going to want to miss a single bit. But Mitch has perhaps the idea that beats them all. And to be honest, Mitch, I'd screenshot this while you can, because I think this, in fact, I'm going to screenshot it right now, bud, because I think it's a spectacular idea. Mayday with Morris dancers dancing around the giant jar of marmalade that sits potentially in the Paddington themed area. I absolutely love it. Absolutely fantastic. So yeah, fireworks not on every night. I think the fireworks going to be limited to Diwali, to Eid, New Year, Chinese New Year, those sorts of things. Not every night. There will be some sort of evening entertainment, but that will probably take the form of maybe something involving the lagoon in the centre of the theme park. Drones as well have been mentioned in the planning documents. So there's going to be plenty going on. Plenty going on. But I think it's time for something else. Welcome back to the library, boys and girls. So this one's a medium difficulty. Last time it was Q line, right? So it was kind of like, if you didn't get that, it's a bit of a tricky one. We're British, right? We know what it is to queue. This one is different. Now, this one is not a universal term. The origins of this actually come from the West Coast of America, and that is all the clues I will give you. What is an e-ticket attraction? An E, letter E, ticket attraction. You let me know. First one in the chat that lets me know with a correct answer will get a shout out, of course. Costs nothing to show a bit of gratitude, does it? Mark, yeah, drone displays on the cards, 100%. Cranky Collector, for people who never been to Universal Parks or experienced Halloween Horror Night, they are in for an amazing treat. We have nothing Nothing like it. Look, if you've done Fright Nights at Thorpe Park, you think, yeah, I know. You don't. And that's all I'll say. You don't. Okay? So, right. Amanda's in there. Top thrill ride attraction. Spanner 0303. An attraction you can buy a ticket for online or through an app connected to the park you're buying a ticket. Mitch, the most expensive ticket in the ticket book for the biggest rides. Cranky Collector. I went to the Thorpe Park version of Halloween Horror Night once and it wasn't that good, to be honest. I did the same actually, Cranky Collector. I went once when I was a teenager and what must have been a 13 or 14-year-old girl came up to me in a queue and punched me. And I was kind of just speechless for about 5. I was like, what? So yeah, I've not gone back to Fright Nights. Cranky Collector, best attraction, top attractions. Look, there are a few good suggestions here. Now, the answer is, and a lot of people are so close that I'm going to give it to them. So, Amanda, you are, Mitch, you are, and Cranky Collector is too. When Disneyland first opened in 1955, you could buy a book of tickets for the rides, okay? And there were A tickets, B tickets, C tickets, D tickets, and E tickets. And they were different prices. So an A ticket would cost you $1, but it wouldn't have been $1 because, you know, inflation. But an E ticket would cost you more than an A ticket. And an E ticket would be the biggest ride. So it is the biggest rides. The top thrill rides or attractions, as Amanda said, the most expensive ticket in the ticket book for the biggest rides, as Mitch says, and as the Cranky Collector says, best attraction, top attractions. So that's what it is. We're all learning something today. Absolutely fantastic. All right. Now, do you know what? I think it's time for... I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a peek at something. So, as you know, we are continually looking at different things that we can do at Universally Bedford. This is actually a big part of it. I want these lives to be so... I want us to kind of really build this like a nice community that we can all have a good time just once a week. If you only have time once a week to catch up with what's going on at Universal, you're going to get everything you want in this package, plus a bit of fun, plus a bit of a chat with people who are into it as well. That's what I really want to build out, and I've got huge ambitions for this. But we're also going to be creating some other types of content as well. We obviously do the construction updates. We do our document deep dives. We do short form stuff on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Facebook and Instagram Reels. We do all of that, right? But we also want to do something that's a little bit different. And maybe something that's kind of a little bit more special once in a while. So I'm not going to tell you what that one thing is because I'm working on it at the moment, but I will tell you that if you're subscribed, if you're following us on all the channels, you'll find out in the next week. But I wanted to show you a little bit. And this is the teaser for what we're working on right now. That is my very own time machine. That's my very own time machine. It's of my own creation. I designed it. What do you think? Are you into the silliness? I hope so, because you're going to expect a little bit more of it. Obviously, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're on board for all of that, because this video that's going to come out is going to be great. It's going to be a time traveling experience, and hopefully we'll all enjoy it and learn a bit along the way. Right. Thank you guys. Really do appreciate it. So yeah, buzzing to kind of get that one out in the wild. It's going to be a few weeks until it is, but I'll start revealing a little bit more about that over the coming days and weeks. Thank you guys for all the kind comments. Really do appreciate it. Thanks so much. Okay, all right. One last doozy thesaurus while we're at it. Come on then. All right. This is the last one. It's the last one of this week's Universally Bedford Live. Thank you for playing along so far, but this is our last chance. This is your last chance to show to yourself how much of a brain box you really are. Now, I think this one's something that we can all have a pump at. I think we could. Right. Are you ready for Doozy Thesaurus round 3? The term that you need to describe in the chat is animatronic. What is an animatronic? I think we can all have a little bit of a go on that one. What do you reckon? What do you think? Hit me in the chat. Thank you guys so much for the super kind comments about that little teaser. We're delighted about it. All right, animatronic. Who's got the definition for me? I know you can do it. Do it. Animatronic, animatronic, animatronic. I'm not going to say it too many more times because I can feel it becoming a tongue twister. Okay. Mitch has got in there. Robot characters. The Cranky Collector also in there with a moving figure of a person, like Pirates of the Caribbean, right? Absolutely. Those were some of the first animatronics. Amanda Cowell, a robotic personal animal. Yes. Mark, it's a puppet with skin shaped the size and mechanical shape / robot or animal or dinosaur. Everyone so far is getting that correct. I thought you guys would get that one right. I thought you would. I thought we'd end on a high, and it's not an easy one. It's not an easy one. Adventure Worldwide, animatronic is a movable figure or animal. Absolutely spot on. Absolutely fantastic. An absolute joy to do that one. And a joy that everyone got it right. That's nice. Who loves that? I certainly do. I certainly do. Just shows that we're all like-minded and in fabulous company. Now, as I said, these lives are only the beginning. We're ramping them up. Every week we're going to try and add something new. Ollie J's joined in there as well. A robot can be an animal or human being. X-Rex, sorry I'm late. I was at Farm Foods. You know what, bub? That's cool. You got to eat. Now, rewind to the beginning and enjoy your food. All right, Cranky Collector. You'd have thought after all these years I'd have perfected it. The new Disney one is awful. And now, are we talking about the Walt one? Yeah. I've heard that actually in the flesh, it's really good. It's just in videos, it looks a bit, you know. Mitch Crease, a little known fact is that dinosaurs invented animatronic. That's why so many look like them. I love that, Mitch. It's sound logic, mate. It's sound logic. Who am I to argue with that sound logic? Right. Thank you all so much for being here. As I said, it's one of the highlights of my week. I thoroughly enjoy it. I look forward to it. Does this time work good for you? Does it work well for you? Because 7 o'clock on Thursdays, I picked it because it works well for me. but does it work well for you? If there's a time in your diary, or you know, if there are times that as a community we find works best, then we can try and shiggle stuff around so that it works for the majority. We're kind of democratic like that, you know. It's a beautiful thing. The democracy of Universally Bedford. Fantastic. All right. Adventure Worldwide, last question before I sign off. And I'm going to sign off and I'm going to play you Back to the Future, that Back to the Future teaser one more time, just as we go. Adventure Worldwide, how old do you think you'll have to be to work at Universal Studios Great Britain? I'm guessing it's probably going to be 18, I would imagine. But that being said, yeah, might be less. Mark, everything's going to be hologram theatre in the future. That's why Japan and China are so ahead of what we can do in the West. They're old technology, especially when it comes to theme parks. Right, okay, yeah. Adventure Worldwide asking again about how old we have to be. So yeah, I think 18. That being said, you know, we'll see. All right, guys, thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed, you're welcome here. You really are. Thank you so much for watching. Can't wait to see you again for the next one. We're going to do a construction update video on the channel tomorrow, so make sure you're subscribed for that, as well as all of the fun of the fair that you can expect from us. All right, God bless. Have a good evening. Stay cool. And thank you so much for being here. Have a good one.